It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show! Hey everybody, it's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey gang.
And Les Webster.
Moltar here.
Oh, that's a throwback from a few weeks ago.
Woohoo!
And by a few, I mean like 20.
Yeah, something. How are you guys doing?
Doing okay.
Same here. And you?
Doing all right. Hope everybody out there is doing all right. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Well, I know I have been finally catching up on that pile of trades that I've got, which of course I keep adding to. So it's kind of a futile gesture, but that's all right.
It's the never-ending battle.
Oh yeah, and it's somewhere between a bad habit and a like a Christmas morning type thing, but it gives me a chance to catch up on stuff. And a lot, like I said, I've said before, a lot of the stuff I've got, I've read before. I did decide to take less up on a suggestion not that terribly long ago, and I picked up the Bojeffries Saga trade, and that was a hell of a lot of fun. I have to say, I won't say I was skeptical because, I mean, we're talking about Alan Moore here, but I was like, Alan Moore doing comedy, really? But man, it works. It is as dark a comedy as you would expect, with the requisite supernatural creatures and all of that, and it's a hoot.
I'm glad to hear you did that. Steve Parkhouse does a great job of characterization too.
Oh, he does. Absolutely.
Steve Parkhouse of Resident Alien fame?
It is Steve Parkhouse of Resident Alien fame.
Yes.
Cool.
He does good characterization in that book too.
Yep.
The character I remember most is, I want to say, it's not Glinda. What is it? One of the women.
One of? I think there's only one.
Yeah. I thought there were at least two. But, huh?
The daughter?
Yes.
The goddess of love in her own mind?
Yes.
What the hell is her name?
Well, I'm just happy you read it because it is a fun read.
Her name is Ginda.
Ginda, thank you.
Gin or Ginda?
Ginda. Ginda.
I was just being cute.
Uh-huh.
Because he said Glinda.
He was close.
Glen or Glinda. Gin or Ginda. There you go.
Wow.
That was a reference and a half.
That's stretching it to the next universe.
In a way that only Ed Wood could.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Les?
This weekend I started reading or rereading the DNAgents series. I found that I had probably 12 of the 15 issues that they have out or have had out. And it's a fun read, but it is extremely wordy. They want to move everything along as quickly as they can, so they pack it with a lot of verbiage and a lot less action panels. So, but it's been fun. How about you, Thomas?
Catching up on reading as well. I did. I'm kind of surprised you had mentioned it, but I figured we need to say something because this past Sunday or Monday, I did a binge watch of the 4-part DC CW WB crossover Heroes versus Aliens, or The Invasion story arc. So I finally watched all of that.
Cool.
What did you think, Les? I know you've seen at least part of it.
I saw the first 2 chapters and I enjoyed it, so I'm going to sit down with On Demand here soon and finish it out. I thought they were carrying it pretty well.
I thought they did a real good job. One of the things I will praise it for is, even though this was a story arc that went over different shows, the episodes still felt within the proper show. So if that makes any sense, so it doesn't feel like it's something that just is kind of out of place. I thought that was awesome that they were able to still do that. And you'll notice, so you hadn't seen Arrow or Legends, those 2 episodes focused on more of the characters who were not, they were part of the show, but they're not the ones that were in all the episodes. So it's a little bit more of the, I don't want to say minor characters, but like in Legends, it really featured Steel, Heatwave, and Vixen, and then to the lesser part, Ray Palmer, Firestorm, and those. So because they were in all the other episodes. So I thought that was well done that they were able to do that. My really only complaint was the Supergirl episode, because it really didn't have any ties to the event except for the stinger at the end. The episode was pretty much just something in her universe, which was fine. But it was just like, and spoilers for those who've not seen this, just fast forward a little bit. You know, Barry and Cisco shows up on her Earth saying, "We need your help," and then it's to be continued. That is essentially it for the crossover in Supergirl.
Well, does that mean they're going to do something in the next Supergirl episode?
No, because it said to be continued tomorrow night on Flash.
Oh, all right. So it was specific.
And then yeah, it was specific. So then you watch the episode of Flash, and then there was a cliffhanger and it says could be to be continued tomorrow night on Arrow, and then the same thing with the next night with Legends of Tomorrow.
Did the Legends show up in Arrow or not?
They showed up in Flash too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they did.
They were it was all of them. I mean, that's it's a minor complaint. It just seemed like,
hardly seems like a whole.
It's really more of a
crossover of the whole group there. I mean, because you're really leaving Kara out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she was there in bit parts. Well, I mean, some of them were just bit parts throughout the different episodes. They focus more on the characters of that particular show, which is fine. But it just,
I don't know. It almost sounds like they don't want to lean on her as the cornerstone.
Yeah.
They're emphasizing their other shows more for some weird reason.
It really could have been just a 3-show crossover, and just hers is kind of a prologue or something.
Run a trailer at the end of her episode for the others. Say, hey, here comes, which is basically what they did.
Yeah, they essentially did that. Yeah. It just seemed kind of disappointing, but it was real good. I did love the line that Ray said, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's a great joke at the end where Kara walks away and Ray turns to Felicity and says, she kind of reminds me of my cousin, which is a nice little in joke because he played, this is Brandon Routh, who played Superman. And of course, Superman's cousin is Supergirl, and he's talking about Kara, who's Supergirl. So it was a great little joke.
Cute.
Very nice bit.
But it was fun. It was nice to see them all together. Will they do it again? It seems like the response has been positive enough that I think they'll try to do it again. But hopefully they can be able to incorporate the characters from Supergirl as well.
Right, spread the load out a little more.
try to do all 4 shows and not just 3, and then maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Because I mean that scene that was at the end of Supergirl was turned around and shown in Flash as well. And some people may not pick that up, but since I watched all 4 episodes back to back to back to back, I caught that immediately.
Yeah.
Well, in Supergirl, the time vortex or whatever you want to call it appeared a couple of times prior to Barry showing up in her apartment.
Well, that's because they were trying to get to Earth, and I get that.
Yes.
But I mean, that is it. Just those little clouds every once in a while popping up, and then they actually successfully making it. Where all of them are in the other 3 episodes. That's what I'm getting at.
And I understand that, but I think you've got to cut Supergirl a little slack because she is of a different Earth in which this had not been happening. She was in, Earth 38 or something?
Yeah.
So if she's in Earth 38 and the Dominators had not appeared there, then I say, okay, I understand. They're just pulling her into the Dominator storyline. Perhaps they could have just dropped the idea that she did not appear.
Well,
but I think that would have disappointed fans.
But here's something else. You talk about the whole thing with the aliens. What has this whole season on Supergirl been about? Aliens on Earth and the xenophobia and all that kind of stuff's going on, where the Arrowverse, as they like to call it, no significant knowledge of aliens. It's all been just vigilantes or metas. So, I don't know. I mean, it was a good story. I thought they adapted it to the shows as well as they could have. I didn't have a complaint about that. I just wish they could have incorporated Supergirl's show a little bit more into it than just them showing up, hey, we need your help, come with us. Oh, okay, here we go.
Timmy's in the well.
I'm coming, Beanie Boy. That's my only gripe. And like I said, it's nothing major.
Okay.
I mean, am I wrong there?
Like I said, I just kind of give her a little slack on it. Yeah, they could have grabbed her at the first of the episode and said, come with us. But by the time you do that, then you don't have the setup with the whole group being there. In other words, you shifted episode on Flash to Supergirl. And now you're essentially just shifting the story, and you've got to redo an ending for it to appear on Legends to make it a 4-episode deal, right?
Which goes back to my point. It could have been just the 3 shows and not say this is a 4-night thing, because it really wasn't. You could have skipped Supergirl and just watched the other 3 episodes, and you would not been hurt by it.
Right.
You would have
honestly could have done that and still included Supergirl.
Yeah.
Just bring her onto the other shows.
That's kind of, and I guess I'm phrasing it wrong or saying it wrong, but that's essentially that's kind of what my point was. It was not a 4-night event. It was a 3-night event, and it just with a with
a teaser.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was going, and obviously I didn't do a good job, so I apologize.
You did fine.
Yeah, we're just trying to find excuses. Failing mostly, but that's all right.
We don't mind sharing our soapbox with you.
Woohoo!
Or more specifically, we don't mind jumping on your soapbox while you're on it.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of what was going on there.
Alrighty. Well, enough about that. Before we get into this week's topics, I want to take a moment to thank the support of our sponsors. First off, I want to thank Make Mine Indie for being a fan and sponsor of Fellowship. They are currently working on their winter catalog, I believe, but the fall one's still available. If you go to our website, thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on the sponsors tab. There will be a link there where you can download the fall catalog, which is 180 pages, if I believe. Have some really, really cool stuff. Some that's available for ordering through normal distributors, and some that are not. Some that are just available through the publishers, I believe. Some are digital, some are physical copies. Quite a few of them have 3 or 4 pages of previews, if I'm not mistaken, Mike. And I know some of them have reviews of their books. Really, some really great stuff that otherwise I wouldn't have known, and I would assume you out there in the listening audience wouldn't have known either. So thank you, Make Mine Indie, and Peter Smitty of Alternative Comics for making this possible.
Yep, go check it out.
Also want to thank Things from Another World, our latest sponsor, for supporting us. They've got some great deals going on. You know, it is Christmas time, so hey, why not stock up on some comics and trades and some other goodies and take advantage of their deals. What's running right now, as you'll see on our sponsors tab, you could save $5 on your order of $50 or more, and that goes through December 16th. And a new one just came out, free shipping, on in-stock orders over $35, and that's good through January 6th.
Nice.
Of course, the deals that you consider evergreen, they never end. 40% off sales on comics, statues, toys, and merchandise. 30% off selected pre-order manga titles. And 50% off Nick and Dent comics or graphic novels. So you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, you go to our sponsors tab, you click on the images there. That will let them know that we sent you their way, and that helps us out a little bit. And hey, take advantage of some of these great deals.
For real.
Yep, I need to stock up on some trades because I'm not one of these that cares if there's a little dent on it. You know, I'm just going to read it, so.
Yeah, half the time you order stuff from Amazon, it ends up getting bent or warped a little anyway, so why not save some money, right?
There you go.
That's true.
There you go.
I really probably shouldn't have named Amazon there, but that's all right. They're probably not listening anyway.
Nope. Alrighty then. For this week, we wanted to go back and check out Kickstarter. We had such a positive feedback from our last Kickstarter episode that we figured, hey, let's just once a quarter kind of hit them up and kind of check out some of the projects that are going on and point out ones that we think are kind of interesting and that maybe you guys want to check out and support if you want to. So we all have a couple of picks. I think Les, you're leading off this time, right?
Yes. Before I do, though, would you do a little bit of restatement as to what Kickstarter is?
For those of you who do not know what Kickstarter is a crowdfunding site. Creators, whether it's in our case, we're talking comics, but it could be music, games,
art,
movies.
film. Yeah.
What they do is they set up a project, and if it gets approved by Kickstarter, they'll put up a video and kind of have I don't want to say a pledge drive, but there's several different levels where you can donate to hopefully get the project completed. And depending on what level you donate, you get certain items as a thank you. And what is it, Mike? It's traditionally 30 days, but some of them can be a little bit longer, right?
Yeah, I think you can do up to 60. I mean 30 and 45 are the ones that I see most often.
Right. So they have 30 or 45 days to meet their goal. And if they do, that's great. I know in quite a few cases, they meet and exceed their goal, and so there will be what they call stretch goals. So if they go a little bit further, if they hit this level, then everybody at a certain level would get additional reward for hitting that goal. But if they don't meet their goal, then the project doesn't get funded, and
Right, and
so
nobody gets charged is the deal.
nobody gets charged. Yeah, nobody gets
You don't
charged.
get
And
charged until the end of the campaign, and that's only if it has met the goal, the
right,
original goal.
right.
Right, and to be fair, Kickstarter is not the only website that does this, but it is probably the most well-known. Indiegogo
It's
is
the
another
highest.
one, and
Yeah,
there are a few others. There are some smaller ones, but yeah, Kickstarter is definitely the highest profile one.
right.
It's the one that a lot of the comics folks use and a lot of the gaming folks use. So it's the one that we hear about the most. So that's pretty much the one we talk about.
Right. So
And at times some of those projects are met, but they're still open, and they'll gladly take your orders.
Yeah, exactly. Just because a campaign meets its goal doesn't mean it's over. It keeps going, and that's where you get the stretch goals. So just because
right.
something has funded doesn't mean you can't buy in on it. It just means that
No.
it's obviously guaranteed to make its goal, and so you're guaranteed to get the stuff when the time comes. And usually there is some sort of delay, but I mean, you're basically paying for what you're paying for up front. Sometimes entirely before production has begun, but a lot of times, especially with the comic stuff, they have some part of it done, and this is true of games too. They have some part of the work done before they start, and so, I mean, you can get stuff a month or two later. That's kind of rare, but usually it's more like, I mean, like 4 to 6 months for comics type stuff, and it can be more than that. It can be up to a year, like for game stuff. I'm still getting bits and bobbles from a gaming campaign I did a year ago. So every so often I'll get something in my email that, hey, download this because you were part of this campaign. I'm like, oh, cool.
All right. With that said, Les, what's your first pick?
Okay, first one I noticed was a title called Supernatural Attraction. This is an effort put out by Kel McDonald, Carl Leppard, and Whitney Kogar. This was a story of a girl that is about to enter her sophomore year in college but dies, is hit in an accident. Her friend, who is a pre-med student, brings her back to life. He fixes her, and now she can see the dead. She can see supernatural characters right there among us, whether they be ghosts, vampires, werewolves, and whatever. So it's done tongue in cheek, but it's pretty interesting. Just the few pages they show you there are interesting too. Interesting enough to me to pick up. And of course, your levels that you can purchase start at $5, and that will give you, say, the copy of the first issue and a thank you on the final page. It goes to $100, and the top thing there is a cameo. You are featured in the background of the comic at one point or another. You have a digital super bundle. You have, the wallpapers and some pretty interesting things. And if I recall, they do have a stretch goal, which you can, if they hit it, they can. Their stretch goal for $20,000 will fund Chapter 4 of the series. Then they state here that they do have 10 chapters planned and agreed on. So I think it'd be fun to try this one. I've never done a Kickstarter, but this one kind of drew me in just because it's got humor, it's got the supernatural, of course. So that's the first one I'm going to promote.
See, this one was on my list too.
Sorry.
So, no, that's fine. That's why I picked a couple of extras just in case. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it caught my eye too.
Mm.
What was your thought, Mike?
For me, I mean, supernatural is one of the things that catches my eye anyway. So, and I mean, I'm not talking about just the word, the concept, the idea behind that, that she can, now that she's been brought back to life, she can see more. Just seemed like a fun concept to me. So.
Cool. Well, this is probably on your list too, Mikey.
Could be.
The first one that kind of caught my eye, out of all things, Harriet Tubman, Demon Slayer.
Yep, that is on my list too. How can you go wrong with a title like that? I mean, come on.
It's the same vein as Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, for those who may not be familiar with Harry Tubman, but what was it?
The
Underground Railroad?
Yeah.
Right, Underground Railroad. But while she's doing this, she's having to fight vampires, werewolves, and demons and all of that at the same time. So this is written by David Crownson, and part of the note, one of the notes he put on there was, think Django Unchained plus Buffy the Vampire Slayer plus Mad Max Fury Road. I'm like, okay.
How can you not be sold right there? I mean, come on. That was just that. Yeah, that line alone hooked me on that one. Totally.
It looks real cool.
Yep.
I thought it was really interesting. Ought to be fun.
I can see that one going somewhere. How close are they to funding it?
They got a ways to go, but they
Yeah.
are.
They still have 3 weeks to go
Yeah.
as of this
As
recording.
of recording, so by the time this releases, it'll be, I don't know,
About 2 weeks.
16, 17 days left.
Yeah.
They're at like 6,300 out of 15,000, so they got a ways to go. But they tend to get a lot of action at the end, so.
Right.
And this is for how many pages is this thing?
I
lost it.
looking.
It said somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now.
Also a graphic novel, so it's a lot. But
yeah, so it's not going to be just a comic book. It's an actual.
it's a graphic novel.
Well, according to the breakdown, you can get copies of 1 through 3, so it is a comic series.
Okay. Well, so maybe what would be 1 through 3 would be.
If it's a normal 22-page book, you're talking about.
Yeah, you're looking at 60, 70 pages.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yep. Alrighty, Mikey, we already hamstrung you. What's your first?
You've already knocked me down by 2 pegs. That's all right. I got more. The first one I'm going to throw out here is a project called BoogeyMan #1. This is the first issue of a superhero comic written by Giancarlo Caracuzzo, who is an Italian artist and now writer, obviously, because he's writing and drawing this book. He's done some of the stuff that springs to my mind. He's been involved in a couple of other Kickstarters that I've bought into, and he also drew the second arc of Indestructible for IDW and Darby Pop. So I like his art quite a bit, and so he's writing and drawing this, and his daughter Flavia is the colorist. And this is the description he gives is, if you like hard-boiled noir action and superheroes, then you might like this book. So we're looking at what he at least mentions the term anti-hero once in his description, and this is essentially an origin story for this character, and so I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to be fun.
Sounds interesting. Definitely.
Yep, if you like the darker stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It does sound fun.
Alrighty, Les, what's your next pick?
Well, my second is by Shane White. It's called Braun, Braun. and it's a graphic novel that he is putting out. The numbers are pretty good on his pledge list. This is a oversized graphic novel. It's 170 pages.
Oh, wow.
For one. And looking at the work he has on the Kickstarter site, he has done a great job bringing this forward. It's pretty solid with his artwork and his story itself. They tout it as one girl, one robot, total destruction. Braun is a high-tech bodyguard, and now he's wanted. You have a secret of robotic evolution will turn the tide of those in power. So I looked at it and I thought that this is another one that I can see me pledging to. And he has got so many levels at which to jump in there. He includes, for his top dollar, it's a top dollar pledge. Unfortunately, it's already been filled. But for $3,500, you receive so many things, and it includes an original that he'll do, an original oil painting of a 16 by 40, and it is the item shown is really, really nice. But you also get, with that one, I'm going to say, you get wallpapers, you get 5 copies of the book on digital, you get a digital graphic novel, an operator's manual, you get a print, gicle print, you get a t-shirt, and other things down the line are, like I said, the wallpaper. And there are 12 figures for the wallpaper, which are really good, really well done. So I can see me going after one of these at least. And I would love to be able to get one where I can get a signed book and a tee, and they also have patches, the main. So I love it. I think this is great. I'm looking forward to trying to get this one.
You know, if you really want the $3,500 level, even though that one is taken, if you contact him, I bet he'll consider opening another one up for you.
Yep.
For 35, yeah, you probably would.
I think
just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think 3,500 would put him oh so close to his goal. I think he'd be happy for that.
Now, Gina may not like it, but hey.
Well, I'll just say look at the flock of squirrels and see what happens.
Alrighty. For my next pick, I'm sure I'm yanking something off Mike's list again. Illuminati Transport.
No, that's not on my list, but it sounds interesting.
Oh, really? The premise of this is Jim Kowalski is a truck driver, and what he does is he drives around the United States picking up supernatural and paranormal items to be delivered to a central location. And in this story, some of the items break out. So he has to figure out how he's supposed to get it back and finish his job. And this is by the Fillbach brothers, who worked on Star Wars: The Clone Wars series, and they've done Captain Freebird, American Player, and Cadaver Dogs of Winter, and a couple other things. This definitely has piqued my interest. I kind of like the vibe with the art that has been posted. This sounds like it could be a really fun little book. They're almost to the halfway point with once again, as of recording, is 26 days to go. So by the time this is down, they're still going to have a good 2 weeks or 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. I think they'll do it. Looks really cool.
That does sound cool.
And it looks cool.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely like the vibe that the art is given. So this might be definitely a fun book.
Yeah, I need to check that out.
Uh-huh. Alrighty, Mikey.
Okay, so my next one is a project called the San Diego Conquest. This is a graphic novel, 120-page graphic novel, which is about an aspiring comic artist, and a couple of her brother and her friend are road tripping to San Diego Comic Con, and suffice it to say, hijinks ensue.
Woohoo!
So yeah, this is written by Mario Candelaria, drawn by Rob Allen, colored by Leslie Atlansky. It's a road trip to San Diego Comic Con, some young folks, and lots of weird stuff happening to them on the way. And the young woman who's the artist, her name is Becca, and she is not going to be deterred, no matter what, from getting to San Diego and showing off her work to the editors and publisher folks there.
Yeah, this one caught my attention too. Looks interesting. Looks like it might be a little fun too.
It does.
Yep. And how are they doing goal wise?
They are a little behind the curve, but their goal is set pretty high. So I don't know. Another thing that sometimes happens, and I hate to, I don't far. This is far enough behind that I don't feel too bad about possibly jinxing the thing. But something that does happen occasionally, and I've been a part of one of these before, is a creator will set a goal and start a campaign and not make it, but then we'll do it again a couple of months later with a slightly lower goal, which will sometimes then be more successful. And so if nothing else, then maybe these guys can get. I mean, I hope they do make it because, like I said, this looks like a fun book. But
Yeah.
in a worst case scenario, they can lower their goal and try again in a month or two, and see how it goes.
Yeah.
But still, you should go back this book anyway.
Oh right.
It's a fun book.
Yeah, we're not saying hold out. If you're interested, go do it.
Yeah, I'm not giving up on them. They've got, I mean, as of right now, they've got 15 days left. They're only at about 12%. But it's like I said, it's a pretty high goal. It's a $20,000 goal, so we'll see what happens. Check it out anyway. There's some fun stuff there.
Okay.
Very nice.
Anybody have any other ones you might want to just do a shout out to? Something else that's caught your fancy?
I do have one more.
Yeah. Okay, I do too. Go ahead.
Despite you guys' efforts to take all of mine from me, I've got one more back up here.
Okay.
This is a project which is entitled, where is it? Wretches, Issues 1 and 2. This is a book by James E. Roche, and this obviously this campaign is for the first 2 issues of what is going to be a 5-issue miniseries. And the story is we've got a couple of brother and sister duo who are basically orphaned in an alien city, and they're basically working at this point as robot hunters. So they're tracking down these destructive robots, and I don't want to go too far. They actually have some stuff here that looks like it could be a little spoilery, but let's just say dramatic things happen that make them struggle to stay together. And some of the art is really nice.
Cool.
Nice little sci-fi stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
Fun stuff.
Sounds real good. My other one is first issue of Force. And Force actually stands for Football Operations Related Championship Elite. And this is a series by Shawn Pryor, B. Alex Thompson, and Jay Reed. And the premise is the story is about Terrence Wright, who is a quarterback who's at the tail end of his career and is about to play the biggest. They're about to play Supreme Bowl 27. Get that, Supreme Bowl?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't say the other thing. They have
right. That's right.
It's copyrighted. But yeah.
But it's not just him getting ready for playing this huge game. But like I said, he's tail end of the career. He's dealing with a shady agent, having issues with money and health, and of course he's looking over his back and seeing a rookie quarterback who's ready to take his job, and it sounds like it might be kind of an interesting little book. And of course, once again, this is as of recording. They are just a little over $300 away from meeting their goal with 2 weeks. So they're gonna make it.
Nice.
They're gonna make it. And I definitely like the art. I think it's kind of an interesting little story. There's not usually a lot of sports related comics out there, so it's kind of unique. And yeah, I think this would be pretty cool.
Yep.
Pretty cool little book.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of sports drama these days.
I can see that winning.
Yep. Nice choices. There's a lot of good stuff out there, but that
There always
that we need.
is. There always is, and it's just a matter of kind of spending a little time on their website and tracking it down.
Exactly.
Or keeping your ears open on Twitter and hearing about stuff that way, because creators are always sharing each other's stuff.
Yep. Very cool. Anything else before we take a break and then come back for weekly picks? Anything else?
No, I'm good.
Nothing here.
Yep. Yeah, so guys, just go to Kickstarter.com and just take a few minutes and kind of check things out. You never know, you might find something to say, hey, yeah, this is cool. I want to support that. And it's not, like I said earlier, it's not just comics. There's a lot of projects, a lot of cool stuff that's just a matter of
Finding
finances.
That's to your taste and right, and having the money to do it. But yeah,
right,
totally. And also, I will scrounge up links for all of these specific ones that we've mentioned here and stick them in the show notes.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So, alrighty. So when we come back, weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for weekly picks, and leading off is Mike.
All right, I'm leading off. Mwahaha, the power's going to go to my head. My first pick this week is a Dark Horse book, and it is an issue number 1, which I don't always do for this, but that's all right. I'm going to do it anyway. The title of this book is Shadows on the Grave. Like I said, it's a number 1. As the notes I have say that it is an 8-issue series, and it is drawn and written by Richard Corbin. I would hope that everybody knows who Richard Corbin is, but if you don't, he's been around a long time. His specialty is supernatural horror, and he is probably most famous for the work he did for heavy metal back in the day. But so this is, as from what I can tell, this is maybe got a bit of a fantasy tinge to it, because he's got a new warrior character that he's breaking loose on us, and I am always looking forward to new Richard Corbin stuff, so I will be all over this one.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's Mikey's going to go after that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can understand why. Corbin's work is phenomenal. Like you said, heavy metal, and probably his most famous character is Den. So, yeah, I'm in on that title with you.
Yep.
Cool. For my first pick, and in celebrating the holiday season, we've got DC Rebirth Holiday Special #1. Obviously, this is from DC Comics, and there's going to be several stories in the special. There's a Huntress, one features Huntress, one features Flash. Apparently, we're going to have a Wonder Woman John Constantine story, which would be interesting.
Mm.
And then apparently, we're going to have Detective Chimp return.
Oh, wow.
Hadn't seen him in a while. We hadn't seen him since the 52, the weekly series,
I think so.
several years ago.
Because when I think the holidays, I think Detective Chimp.
Mm-hmm.
Right up there with eggnog, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Eggnog with nutmeg and a little bit of rum and Detective Chimp. How can you go wrong?
There you go.
I like your choice, Thomas.
Mm-hmm. Or what you got there, Les?
I have for my first choice Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures #2 by IDW. The writer is Matthew K. Manning. Artist is John Somariva. And in this one, the first issue was fun. In this one, Arkham Asylum is missing a duo, and that is Joker and Harley Quinn. They travel to New York City, the Turtles town, and there they meet Shredder. In the meantime, the Turtles and the Batman group of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl are trying to form a truce. This is one of those titles that takes you back to the animated series for both Batman and Turtles. So it's an interesting read, and gladly they have kept to the characters that were depicted in the cartoons.
Cool.
Yeah, the first issue was really fun. It's definitely in the style of the animated series. So it's gonna be cool to see where we go from here. It was a fun read. Alrighty, Mikey.
Oh, I'm up again already. Okay. Well, my other pick is an Image book, and this is actually a trade. The Postal Volume 4 trade is coming out this week.
Wow, Volume 4.
I know, they're up to Volume 4 already. And if you did not read issues 13 through 16 of Postal, A, what's wrong with you? And B, it's probably easiest to think in terms of Eden, of the town of Eden, versus the Aryan Brotherhood. So imagine the mailman with Asperger's and his cohorts taking on the Aryan Brotherhood. It's pretty dark stuff, but that's pretty normal for Postal. Brian Hill is a hell of a writer, and Isaac Goodhart's art is just phenomenal. This is definitely one of my. I mean, I may have 15 books in my top 5 books, but this is very much one of them.
That's very cool. And you say this is the 4th volume.
Yes, this is volume 4.
Wow. It's hard to imagine that the title has been around that long, but closing in on a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I agree. I remember when they first started kind of talking about this coming down. I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting, and it has been.
Absolutely.
It's been a great read, definitely. For my second choice, I'm going to Dark Horse as well. And this is a collection. It's called The Essential Kurtzman Volume 2, Trump. And before anybody says anything, we're not talking about the president-elect. Trump was a magazine that came out in late 56 and 57, and actually only 2 issues came out. But this was done by Harvey Kurtzman, and it was done for Hugh Hefner and Playboy Publishing. And apparently in the collection, there you have the likes of Mel Brooks, Will Elder, Jack Davis, and Wally Wood, and several others contributing to this. Like I said, there was only 2 issues that were published, but this collection not only has those 2 issues, but has the third that was canceled.
Oh,
So
cool.
that's really cool. That's going to be all of it there. So this is definitely one that I'll probably check out.
Neat.
I can see why, yeah. This is when Mel Brooks was probably a writer for television rather than stepping out in film himself.
Oh, in the 50s, definitely.
Yeah, definitely the 50s. But it would be interesting to find out how they got him to come over and write for a magazine. I guess it would probably be easier than one would expect. Probably just, hey, you want to do this? Sure, let's do that.
We'll
That's
give
fine.
you money
Yeah,
when you're starting out, man.
yeah, that's true. So, all right, Les.
What I have is another collection. Gold Key Alliance was put out by Dynamite Entertainment. It was a 5-issue series written by Phil Hester, art by Brent Peoples. Phil Hester people know from his run on Ant-Man, Green Arrow. He did a volume for Rust, which is a really good story if you get a chance to find it. And he wrote Wonder Woman, among other things. Brent Peoples is best known for Last of the Greats, which is one that I highly recommend. And I'm hoping that they think about expanding the storyline because it was really fun. In this one, though, in the Gold Key Alliance, you have Turok, Dinosaur Hunter, Solar Man of the Atom, the Mighty Samson, Magnus Robot Fighter, characters from the Gold Key realm of the 60s, all of a different time frame, but they're brought together in the 21st century. They're trying to overcome the oddness of the 21st century, and they're being drawn there by another member of the Gold Key titles. That one I'm not going to tell you about, but I read this, and this was a fun read. I keep saying a fun read, but this was outstanding. The art was really good. The storyline was phenomenal. And as a result, they do have a nice, tight ending for it. So I recommend this one, and hopefully you folks will at least take a look at the collection that's coming out.
Cool. Sounds like an interesting bunch of characters to get together anyway.
Yep.
For sure.
Brent Peoples, who lives here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
That's very cool. Yep, good choices all around. Hard to argue against any of them. Any special mentions or shout-outs?
I did want to throw one honorable mention out there
Okay.
for picks. Reborn #3 is coming out this week.
Ooh, yep. That's true.
Is so far proving to be a very interesting title. I like it.
It wasn't what I was expecting, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's definitely.
Yeah, it's actually struggling to find a word to describe it. I like it.
It's a finite series, right?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Image is not one of these that goes and says, okay, this is a. Very rarely do they say this is a 4 or 5 issue book.
They do some, and I have not seen any evidence that this is not ongoing so far. And given that the also coming out this week is the third printing of #1,
Right.
I'd say it's probably going to stick around for a little while, as long as
Yeah.
as long as Miller and Capullo have stories to tell. So, see.
Yep.
And there you have two bigs doing the title.
Yeah, seriously.
Pretty cool. Any other honorable mentions?
None here.
Okay. All right. Any special shout outs?
No, don't think so.
Okay.
No, sir.
Alrighty. Well, first I want to shout out to Manny the Martyr for the really cool music that he used for the podcast. Thank you guys.
Yes.
Once again, if you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofgeeks.net, go to our podcast page, you will see a logo on the side, and if you click on there, you can check out their page and check out some of their music, and of course we'll have a link in our show notes as well. Thank you guys, thank you very much. Second of all, I want to thank #PotterandFamily, who is spending the month of December celebrating their 1-year anniversary. Happy anniversary, Potter and Family.
Woo!
Yeah.
This is a group of podcasters on Twitter who retweet and share other podcasts. They've been nice enough to spread the word of the fellowship, and Mikey and I have done our best to return that love. Thank you guys. If you go to Twitter, twitter.com, and do a search, #PotterandFamily, you'll find any kind of podcast you can think of. A lot of cool people out there, some really good shows. Any particular ones you want to mention this week, Mikey?
Yeah, one of those really cool shows is called Afterburn 739, and this is best described as a comedy podcast. They are a group of friends in Ohio who get together on a weekly basis, and I believe there are libations involved, and they sit around with a bunch of microphones, and these folks are hilarious. You would do well to check out Afterburn 739 podcast. They're a hoot.
Cool. One day we need to sit down and try to figure out what the percentage is of podcasts that libations are involved.
I don't know if we have that kind of time.
It seems like it happens a lot more than one would think.
It's it's a social lubricant, and it lets people it helps some people open up, and that can often have hilarious results. And
once again, I'm not complaining. I'm just mentioning. I just make an observation.
It does come up, that is for sure. And that's not just Potter and Family. There's other podcasts. I mean, there's a lot of drinkers in Potter Family, but it makes for some fun shows, that's for sure.
A lot of drinking in podcasts, and for someone who watches a few streamers on Twitch, there's a lot of drunk gaming too, and it causes for some interesting moments.
I gotta tell you, I'll throw in that there are, I mean, Potter and Family or no, there are, it's almost as if it's its own subgenre of the drunk gaming podcast, or the live play podcast, the role playing games. There are a ton of just normal live play role playing podcasts. There is a significant subgenre of drunk ones, and some of them are really, really funny too.
Alrighty, yeah. It's kind of fun to watch or listen to them. And of course, a shout out to you, dear listener. Thank you for the downloads, not only for this episode, but for previous episodes. Thank you for listening. We are always interested in getting feedback from you. Please contact us, let you know what you think. And if you have questions, comments, suggestions, we're always open. The best way you can contact us is either go to the website, Once again, it's www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and click on the About Us tab, and there's a form you can fill out there. Or you can just shoot us an email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. We are on social media, of course. We're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. You can like us there, and you can always send us a message that way. Or our Twitter. You can always follow us on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Follow us, and you can send us a message that way. Mikey has his own personal Twitter account at Mikey Geek, and I have one as well at TomTCGeek. Give us a follow and shout out and say, "Hey, dig the show," and just let us know. We're always very appreciative of that. Also, wherever you download the show, whether it's iTunes or Google Play or Stitcher, or if you listen to us via YouTube, please rate us. Whether it's a thumbs up, thumbs down, stars, or whatever rating system that's available. It'd be much appreciated if you would do that. And if you have additional moment or two, feel free to give us a review or some kind of comments about our show. It would be much appreciated. And let them know that you're checking us out and you think we're cool or whatever. It's always welcome. Anything else?
Sure. If you decide you need a little boost, a little help to figure out what to talk to us about, I usually throw a question of the week into the show notes, and we usually talk about it somewhere around in here. This week,
that's true.
We're going to use a suggestion that Les gave me not too long ago, and give you sort of homework. It's sort of a prep for next week, a little sneak preview as to what we're going to talk about next week. What are your favorite holiday stories in comics? Let us know. Let us know what kind of holiday stories you've come across or that are your favorites. Maybe we'll talk about them.
Yep, that would be cool. That's right. Next week we will be doing our favorite holiday stories. Not only just comics, but novels, TV shows, or movies. We're just going to open up the gamut, and we will be joined by our friend Eddie Medina, who's been with us before. So it should be a treat. So hey, you got a teaser for the following episode.
Oh, we haven't done that before.
No, we hadn't done that before. That's pretty cool. Anything else?
Just thanks, everybody.
I'm going to iterate, yeah. We appreciate everything you say and do for us, and thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. It's much appreciated, and we love you guys. Until next time, read more comics and support your local stores. We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,